Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Tide 100.9. We got a full show laid out for you this morning. Want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. You can also join us on Alabama Sports with Martin Houston on Facebook. We're talking Alabama sports, the Sound of Bama Sports, your show. It's your team talking about whatever it is you would like to talk about this morning. You can always support the show by jumping in on the conversation or giving stars at fb.com/stars. The playbook for today, Wildcard Wednesday. Got a great question for you. I'll tell you that in a moment. We're going to give a shout out to my old teammate, David Palmer, as he goes into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. We'll talk Bama hoops. We can talk about Jarin Stevenson. Were you surprised by his entrance into the into the draft? Then we can also talk about Bama's need for a big man. Then we can talk Bama football, Bama's biggest needs. We can talk about Bama's biggest needs when it comes to football. Where does the board go? We can talk about early enrollees. I briefly mentioned this to DC on yesterday with the transfer portal and the things. Do we see that trend change or not? Making room. Has everyone that left from Alabama, have they left on their own accord or not? Yesterday we had the term DB swap. I've seen people saying we took and we may talk more of this on Tomorrow X, but people dogging the Cam Howard commitment, talking about we lost a 4-star and got a guy from a D2 school, that type of thing. But is some of this making room? And then we'll wrap things up with the Harsh Church Christian Moment of the Week. Now, the would you rather question, all right? You guys kind of think through this. Football related. Would you rather have a football team with a deep offensive line but inexperienced cornerbacks, but they're talented? Or a team with seasoned cornerbacks but a shallow offensive line, but the starters are good? We'll talk about it. The Elijah Pritchett thing gives pause for even more concern. So we won't get into what all happened there, but will Elijah Pritchett, be the second man down from this offensive line, and not necessarily just because of the portal? So lots to get to. Want to get to it. The phone lines are open, and we invite you to get in on it, add your thoughts, your comments, and your reactions. Good morning, CJ, Chuck, Jed, and Curtis Moore the second. Appreciate you guys jumping in with us early this morning. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, let's go ahead and hit David Palmer. That's kind of the outlier of the conversation. A timed issue that if we don't talk about it before this weekend, we can't circle back. Well, I guess you can circle back on it, but it won't be a congratulation in foresight. David Palmer going into the headline in the class of Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. The deuce is loose. Could you imagine if that dude was coming out to date with a tagline like that? And he definitely lived up to it. Headline in the class: Mike Anderson, Larry Chapman, John Drew, basketball guys, Robert. Those guys, and then Robert Mathis, Mike Washington from football, and Penny Hochschild and Buxton from gymnastics, and Scott Sullivan from baseball. That's the class that the deuce is loose is headlining. I know you didn't get to see him live, but just your thoughts on. I know you've seen some film on him and heard people talk about him through the years.
Man, David Palmer from really growing up until, I guess, Javier Arenas that I really got to watch play. I know it was one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic, punt returners Alabama had up until Javi, at least. But a do-it-all playmaker, a guy that could just do a little bit of everything. Not old enough to remember watching him play, but just all the stories and things that I've heard of the type of playmaker he was impressive. I think he's the first ever 1,000-yard receiver in Alabama school history back in '93. You look at that accomplishment. I had the opportunity. I played against his oldest son, David Jr., in my sophomore year in high school. So that was a pretty cool thing when we played Jackson Nolan.
Let me.
I mean, just a great overall talent. And
think about this.
Thankfully,
think about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Think about this. When you say Coach Stallings in offense, what are your first words? Conservative, right?
Ground and pound.
All right. Now think about some of the accolades you just threw on David. He also played Wildcat quarterback. He had reverses. He lined up at running back. He lined up at wide receiver. He lined up in the slot. He was a punt returner. He did it all. And this thing, he did it. He did it when the coach was considered conservative. Under a coach that was not just considered conservative, football was conservative. You know, if he was playing in today's game with the way they move guys around and all of that, unbelievable. And people have heard me share the story where I was going to show the little freshman welcome to college football, and he made a move on me, and all I did was slide across the out of bounds line and end up against the fence because I went at him so hard, and he stopped on a dime and then took back off. He wasn't the fastest guy, probably ran somewhere between a 4.5, 4.6. But when he took off, he was full speed. He could stop on a dime and start back full speed and could move sideways without ever losing a stride. So kudos to David Palmer going into the College Football Hall of Fame. He earned it. But it also shows David Palmer got in some trouble, and it shows the power of team and transfer and why you don't give up on kids and why you don't let them jump ship just because it gets tough. David Palmer's story probably doesn't happen in today's game because when he got in trouble, he would have just left Alabama instead of staying and taking the punishment. And we as a team made the decision that we did not want him kicked off the team. The leadership, what our version of the leadership council was, Coach Stallings left it up to us, and we're so glad we did and so proud of David for what he's accomplished in this honor on this weekend. So, Pat, you're in. Excuse me, Pat, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin and Xavier. What you got for us?
Good morning, guys. poor X. Ain't no way X is getting any sleep. With all these kids leaving this defensive backfield, my Lord. And
Are you
now
are you worried about the guys leaving the defensive backfield, Pat?
Yeah.
Why?
That we just lost a 5-star talent. That I mean, I was amazed that he stayed. Whenever he got into trouble down in Florida, and that, goodness gracious,
Where was
lose a talent.
Where was he going, Pat, when he got in trouble here? Where was he going to go?
Hey,
he had a legal.
Was his.
He had a legal issue.
I know that, but Lane Tiffin. Lane would have still taken him on a contingency basis. And there's no doubt about that. I mean, everybody knew how talented the kid was.
That's what I'm saying. So why would he have left here if it was a contingency? Why wouldn't he stay at Alabama? That's my point. Is somebody may would have taken him, but they would have had to take him on the same contingency we did. If you don't get in trouble, he was already at the best school, so that's why he stayed.
My question is, why is he leaving now?
Because he can't break into the lineup. He's been here.
Pat. Oh no, Pat. He's been passed up by Red Morgan's in front of him.
He's been passed up by true freshmen 2 years in a row. Caleb Downs and now Red Morgan.
Him and Caleb were the same class, but Caleb beat him when they both come in with all the hype. And then this year, a lower rate. Caleb made sense. Caleb was 5-star top player one top player in the country. But now Red Morgan was a 3-star who has outworked him and outperformed him. And we got Red for at least 3 years.
Go ahead, Pat.
All I can tell y'all is that we got, looks like to me, 0 backups at cornerback.
But he wasn't.
Tony's not a corner.
That's what people are hearing. DB. People are hearing DB, and I address this. People are hearing DB and think that the 2 DBs have hurt Alabama for 2024. Williard would be great for the future. Mitchell may be great for the future, but neither one of those guys were in the top 2 when it comes to safety. Now, they both look like they would be perfect for this new defense. Here's my concern with Mitchell. Mitchell was one of the first guys who we know publicly tampered with in the transfer portal. Because he literally, we had to outbid Texas A&M, regardless of whether we want to hear that or not, to get him. Do you remember the Jimbo Fisher scenario? You remember the Jimbo Fisher scenario where he called out a player and Saban and all of that for buying the best talent? Well, one of those guys that Fisher was trying to buy was Mitchell.
Sure.
Tony Mitchell was one of the first players to, I believe, walk into Saban's office and say, "This is what I'm being offered. How much you gonna give me?" And I think this may have been even pre-NIL being wide open. So it was just getting started. So, but go ahead, Pat. We got to get the break, but you want to hold? Or you have anything else? Or
yeah. Because we want to talk about linebackers.
Hold on.
We going after linebackers. Okay.
Hold on. Coming back on the other side, we'll keep the conversation rolling. You want to get in on it? Let me hear from you. 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline. Also, don't forget the Would You Rather question. Would you rather have an offensive line that is deep and a group of cornerbacks that's talented but inexperienced, or would you rather have experienced cornerbacks in a shallow offensive line but talented? We'll talk about it. You can join the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. One of our areas that seems to be a hot spot for accidents is popping off again this morning. This is eastbound 2059 at Daimler Benz in Vance. However, the backup through the area appears to be minimal, if any. We also have the remnants of an earlier vehicle fire, US 11 and Holly Springs Lane in Foster's. Although the fire is out, has been now for a while. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer.
Townsend Nissan is your #1 dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you #1 keeps Townsend Nissan #1. See dealer for details.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit drivesafealabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it. That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, this is Quentin.
And this is Brianna.
A little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu.
My favorite thing is the last bite. The last bite is nice and juicy, and it's wrapped up in some crispy breading that keeps it nice and tasty. And being able to scoop up my Chick-fil-A sauce with it, it's just like the best part of the meal. It's an undefeated combo.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very warm day today with a good supply of sunshine, the high 87. For tonight, fair with the low at 62. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, the high 89. Friday, partially sunny, a chance of afternoon showers in scattered spots, the high 86. I'm James Spann on the ABC 30-40 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back in to the Martin Houston Show. We want to thank our great sponsors over at Alabama One. Of course, this is my full-time gig, Alabama One, alabama1.org. You can go there. Great things happening there, spread throughout the state as a statewide franchise. We have all of the products and services that you would need. Right now, we're emphasizing helping you get into the one you want to drive. That's a vehicle promotion. It's not always about the rate. Right now, it's about the payment. And we have longer term, lower payments. All you need to do is figure out what vehicle you want and then come talk to us and we can get you the right terms to get you into the payment that fits your budget. Up to 96 months we can go based on certain criteria. So longer terms, lower payments, that's Alabama One, and that's whether it's auto, boat. Actually, we can go even higher on a boat. So if you're in the market for a boat, you can go even higher, longer months than that. I think it may be 120. Let that sink in. We can get you the payment you want at Alabama One. Let us finance for you, ask us how, alabama1.org, or stop by one of our branch locations, and our team members spread throughout the state will be glad to help you. And hey, if you're not in an area where we have a branch, we have a virtual branch that can serve you. All you need to do is go online, start the application there, and then we'll reach back out to you. That's Alabama one together. All right. Pat, real quick, let's finish up that call with Pat. Pat was talking portal, concerned about DBs. Guys, don't get caught up in 5-star versus 4-star. Remember, this is somebody's ranking. Sometimes guys look that way just because of where they played. Some guys are really good. Some guys are early bloomers. Some guys are late bloomers. And I think we have some of that going on. So don't get caught up in the 5-star. But, Pat, what else you got for us?
That linebackers, do you feel like we're deep enough at linebacker that we don't need to go into the portal and get another one? I see where we got the kid coming out of Rome, Georgia, and I want to know how high X is on Jaden Harmon.
Jaden is a 20. Is he a 2025 guy?
He's 25 guy.
Let's talk about. Let's say that for tomorrow because we have a day set aside for that, X. But you can answer the question about the depth for this year.
Linebacker really isn't a concern as far as when it comes to depth this year. Bama's pretty deep still there. The issue is there's in most positions there's plenty of depth. It's the experience behind the starters that we have. And I think you'll see Bama use more of a rotation this year. More, hey, if Bama gets up, they're going to start putting guys in to play on the defensive side of the ball. Bama's deepest still at outside at the edge guys and defensive line. Corner has depth. It's just a lot of youth behind it.
Yeah, don't go to the corner yet. And Pat, I'll tell you, and I'll let you go after that. On the linebacker thing, your guy Jefferson actually may fit this scheme better. Number one. So look at that. Number two, Pat, is don't be surprised if they don't figure out how to move potentially one or two of those guys. Like they've already moved Alexander. He's an inside guy. So we have depth, and I think we have some horses. What's his name loves Alexander, Jeremy Alexander from Thompson in the physicality that he plays with. So don't be surprised if he doesn't do what Campbell did last year. If one of those guys fool around and mess up and let him get in, that they're going to have a hard time taking his reps back. So I think we're okay there, Pat. There is a place that I have a concern over, but that's not it. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you, man. Call us back. We'll talk some more about the future guys in recruiting on tomorrow. All right. Philip, you're in with Martin and Xavier. You had something to say about early enrollees?
I did, Martin. Good morning. I do think Alabama's good on linebackers. I think they've got 11 right now on the roster overall. But, yeah, yesterday morning, kind of late in the show, right before you got off the air, you mentioned that it might be something that schools might want to look at as far as early enrollees and encouraging that wholeheartedly like they've been doing the last really a lot of years now. Tennessee was one of the first schools that did it with Phil Fulmer, and I think you have a point on that, and I think it is healthier from a mental state of mind for the kid, and they are still kids. I know their parents think they're grown-ups and that they're ready to start making millions of dollars, but they are kids and they think like kids, and I think they need that time at home just a little bit longer before they report. And from the financial side, it's an expense. You look at Tony Mitchell, for example. He hadn't even played a snap at Alabama, and Alabama's backed him to the fullest. I think they've been good to him, and now he's gone.
Yeah. And here's
Peyton Woodard's the best example of it.
Yeah, he is the one that made me ask this question. This kid he should be still in high school, right? He should still be in high school, or could still be in high school. I shouldn't say should. Could still be in high school, and we've already lost him. He's already, and the thing about it is, he potentially could have matured before he got exposed. And I'm not saying that he wasn't doing well. I'm just saying he goes from being a high school football player as a senior to being out there with some guys that are 21, 22, 23 years old, and he's still 17 and possibly 16. Who knows? And now he's made the decision potentially that he can't break into the starting lineup, versus if he was here and had a whole off season, a whole summer, and then a fall, then a spring to make that decision. But he's already jumped in the portal, and he's been here a semester. He hadn't been here a semester. He's been here, 6 weeks, whatever. So that's my concern: is will these coaches keep bringing these kids in, Philip and X? I'll let you respond. Bringing these kids in and throwing them out there in the spring,
and then leaving before,
and then they leave after spring because they didn't get what they wanted or what they thought. That's a shock. You go from the big dog on campus to you come here and bam, you're fourth on the depth chart. And now you can leave and it not hurt you at all. So it's interesting. You have any comments?
I would. I would put a delay on it because if you're gonna, I could have offered this to another. I could have offered that scholarship to another kid who wouldn't have wanted to leave after 3 weeks of practice, essentially.
So
it's a bad thing that you can come into college a semester early and then you're not even going to go through a summer, a football season before you can hit the portal again. And it's not Peyton Woodward isn't a rarity. We're talking. This is happening across the country. There's been several 2024 guys re-enter the portal since fall practice has started.
Exactly.
Spring practice has started.
Here's the question for you and Philip. I'll let you respond, Philip, and then we'll get the break and X and then let you try. But here's the question, though. Actually, there's going to be more high school kids that want to leave early now. So you run the risk of, if you implement the philosophy to try to slow these kids down because they're trying to get to the money sooner, right? So a kid may choose a school now because that coach wants early enrollees and this other one doesn't. So now as a recruiter, you have now got another element to your recruiting. You have to go, okay, is this guy an early enrollee? Is this guy or not? And you may offer a guy that may not be quite as talented but doesn't want to come early because you don't run the risk of losing him. Because there's only a handful of guys. Caleb Downs was a guy that was ready to play in the spring. Most of these guys aren't ready when they enroll early. It does help them transition and all of that, but they're not ready to play football. They're ready for other things. What's your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. I just, I'd love to know what the root cause of these kids bailing out after 16 weeks. I'd love to know is it parent driven, or is it been just, or is it the kid himself just thinking that, hey, they don't know what they're doing. I'm good. I don't need to have any learning curve. I'm ready to go. I just would love to know what the root cause of it is.
The root cause of what now?
Then
what's making them leave
like that? So yeah, bailing out like Woodyard did, and some of the others is.
I think Woodyard's a 16, 17-year-old kid that's from California and wanted to go back home. His may not even be related to football, money, or anything. To your point, he went from one day he was in high school, next day he was on a college campus across the country from his home, and they gave him a get out of jail free card that doesn't expire. Alan, if this was only one chance to transfer, he probably would give Alabama more of an opportunity. But the fact that he is a, highly rated recruit, he can leave here, go back home to one of those schools. He also probably saw that there's less talent at one of these other schools. If he's
Oregon is the school to beat for him.
Huh?
Oregon is the school to beat for him.
Right. So I think that probably has some of it to do with, I think some of his money. But hey, listen. This is gonna sound really crass, but you ever seen no Roach Motel commercial, Philip?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if the Roaches can go in and come back out, they'll come and go as much as they want. So, I mean, and when you get on these college campuses, Virgil Williams was talking about one of the guy he went to church with that was a blue chipper. When he got here, he found he was just a chipper. This was back when they called them blue chips versus stars. And hey, listen, when I went from Alabama to the NFL, and the first time we ran a toss sweep, Philip, and the center pulled and got around the corner as fast as I did as a fullback, I said, yeah, this is a different league, baby. This is a new level. And so some guys can't take that, man. Some guys just can't take the fact that they're no longer the biggest, fastest, and strongest, and they don't know how to fight. I'll let you go after this. Philip, do you remember what Nick Saban said about Mims, the big 6'6" guy from Georgia? He said, I still wonder, because the kid only started 8 games at Georgia. He said, I still wonder, has he developed the habits to compete? That's what they questioned about me when I came here to Alabama. Did I have the habits to compete because I was a big 250-pound running back in a 4A school? They didn't know if I had that dog in me. And there's some guys who don't, and it doesn't get exposed until there's a bunch of other dogs on the field. And that could be part of it too, Philip. Thank you, sir. Coming back on the other side, we'll get. Hey, listen, we have some great topics to get to, but our callers are engaged, and so we like to get to them. We got Todd, Allen, and J. Rob on the other side. So X, we'll work them in, and we'll figure it out from there. We'll kick the topics to the other side to Thursday and Friday if need be. We're talking Alabama football right here on your home for Alabama sports.
Hi, this is Quentin.
And this is Brianna.
A little thing we love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu.
My favorite thing is the last bite. The last bite is nice and juicy, and it's wrapped up in some crispy breading that keeps it nice and tasty. And being able to scoop up my Chick-fil-A sauce with it, it's just like the best part of the meal. It's an undefeated combo.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
EasyCater has everything you need to make food for work. From ordering to reporting, we even keep your receipts all in one place, which means all you need to do is sit back and enjoy.
You're not having any lasagna?
All I can taste is hours of expense reports.
Relax, you used EasyCater. Enjoy the food, Ray.
Oh, no, thanks.
Enjoy it?
Amazing.
Yes, Ray. It is amazing. 100,000 restaurants and everything you need to make food for work. Order 24/7 at EasyCater.com.
Attention, those of you looking to go on a fun vacation and see the world on the cheap. Today, the U.S. dollar is worth even more in other countries, so there's never been a better time to travel outside the USA. The dollar is worth over $1.30 in Canadian dollars, and it's the same for Australia. You can fly there today and have fun and maximize your travel dollar. Your U.S. dollar is worth over $3 in Brazilian reals, and it's worth over $18 in Mexican pesos. Plus, in Argentina, it's worth over $27 in Argentine pesos. Just think of the bargains you'll get. And the way you get the cheapest airfare to any destination is by calling Tickets That Cheap. Save up to 75% on your foreign vacation tickets. Don't wait. Call now.
800-426-1886. 800-426-1886. 800-426-1886. That's 800-426-1886.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
This report is sponsored by Tire Rack.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports Xavier Houston.
Check out Billy's Cooking Restaurant, Billy's Cooking Restaurant, Billy's Cooking LLC. Today is Wing Wednesday, 50-cent wings, all the flavors that you can think of. Go check them out, and they will take care of you. That's Billy's Cooking LLC. DoorDash is an option, or you can call them 205-632-8617 and pick it up yourself. That's Billy's Cooking LLC. All right, we got some callers. We're gonna get you guys in and out. Todd, on hold. We'll give the ultimate results of the Would You Rather probably on tomorrow, but Todd wants to talk about the Would You Rather, which is, would you rather have a deep O-line, inexperienced cornerbacks, or seasoned DBs versus shallow offensive line? Tony, you're in on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Martin. Good morning, X. I tell you, I would rather take that defense. Do you remember that year? I believe it was 2014 when Leonard Fournette and LSU came into Tuscaloosa, and he was supposed to do all this, that, and the other, and that defense just swarmed him. And I think he was under it was way, way, way low on his rushing yards. And I believe Alabama went on to that national championship that year, but they lost. But I'll take that over that offense. And I'll tell you, to top it all off, Mark, DC brought up Reuben Foster. I'll take another Reuben Foster. If we get another one of him, I would love to have him on that defense as well.
Yeah, but you're talking specific defense versus offense. And remember, the game has changed. This is O-line versus DB. You have a really good starting O-line and talented but inexperienced DBs, or you have experienced DBs. You have a deep O-line and your DBs don't have experience, or you have experience in depth at cornerback, but a shallow O-line. That's different than what you explained. And I'm not saying I don't know that I take that a defense today in today's game with the way they call it and help the offenses, but that's a little different story.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I still believe I would still take the defense because it's all about people being flashy and passing. So I'll take them DBs. Even though I'm offensive minded now, Martin. I'm an offensive line guy.
Watch this. We got talent at DB. How many DBs do you see come in and ramp up and technically could probably leave after 2 years versus how many offensive linemen? Because right now, we got a bunch of dudes I think can handle that other corner as we go. I'm not so sure we have an offensive line right now. I mean, you have to think. Pritchett has been arrested twice this spring. Just got arrested again this weekend. At the end of spring, he was our starting left tackle. Brockemeyer just left and committed to TCU. So right now, what you're telling me is you'd rather go into the season not sure about Bressel, not sure about left tackle, as long as you got good corners. I'm just let that sit out there for that, Todd. I mean, that's it's your choice. I'm just.
And remember, the the question is inexperienced. That doesn't mean bad,
right?
Like, and we've seen true freshman corners come in at Alabama and
numerous
be studs. We've seen it. We've seen it a couple times on the offensive line.
Absolutely.
But as an offensive line, that is a unit. The offensive line is the only position group on the field where they all have to work together simultaneously for the offense to be successful.
And I'm not even worried about them being good enough. I'm saying you don't have any depth. Let's say that we have the best offensive line we've had. When was the last time we had 5 guys play all year without somebody getting hurt?
Not often. But I'll tell you one thing, Pritchett is definitely making it easy for
Proctor,
Caden to come back in and be the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the world at your feet.
Yeah, he's messing up. X, we got a couple calls. I hold that thought real quick. Todd, you have anything else?
Now, you know what, Caden, he thought he started out real thin, and then, he finally finished the year strong. So, and like X brought up a great point, they move as a unit. So, and they'll improve throughout the year. So, okay. I'm still going defense.
I know you are. I wasn't trying to convince you. I was just giving you some more information. All right, thanks, Todd. X, finish your comment on you were saying about Pritchett.
Pritchett's making it he's making it easy for Proctor to come back in and be the guy. You are the current starting left tackle. All you have to do is keep your nose clean and keep grinding because Proctor's going to have to work himself back up. But now you just knocked yourself down a peg and go, hey, is this the guy that I can trust that's not going to do something stupid the rest of the way?
Pritchett is probably not on my starting guy. That's an open position now. A guy that's been arrested twice since I've been here.
You can't trust him.
And he was in the portal before I got here. Everybody forgets that Pritchett went in the portal last year.
That is true.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at that guy and going, okay, we'll talk more about it. Allen.
The other thing about DB is Jackson Jr., Malachi 5th year, Devontae redshirt Jr., Saab Jr. Only one position that's going to, as of right now, only one starter is going to be young. Everybody else is going to have been going into their 3rd year at minimum of playing college football.
All right, Alan, you're in on the Alabama One hotline. I think you want to talk about Tony Mitchell, but hey, Alan, people won't know what I'm talking about, but I responded to your basketball. Who's going to take that shot? Robert Ory.
Robert, Martin, he's not a choice.
I'm Ory. Hey, listen, my 3 people was Robert Ory, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You didn't have any of those on your list, so just FYI, I know that.
No, it's big shot. It got to be Bird. It has to be Bird.
Of those 5, I'm probably giving it to Bird. But anyway, y'all go.
Okay.
Where'd you go and talk about Tony Mitchell?
You know what? I have no problem with the. I'm a big fan of them not coming out of high school early. So I think you're screwing your high school team. But if you are coming out early on something like that, I would tell, if I was a coach, I would tell somebody like him. I said, look, don't worry about spring practice. You're not going to, you're here to learn the defense, learn your position, and and when the fall time comes, then we'll worry about everything else. Get acclimated. With the with school, get your grades up, and everything else will fall into place. Do not get frustrated. That's the main thing is do not get frustrated.
And that's what it was originally for. That's how Saban and others, that was their original thought, is it gives the guys a chance to, get acclimated academically, socially, and all of that. But now that you have the get out of jail free card with no limit, then a guy, it's hard to tell a 17-year-old that it doesn't matter that he was 4th on the depth chart when he's always been clearly number 1 and never been pushed. That's a hard thing. It also makes it easier for you to leave, Alan, because there's no consequence to you leaving now. Because when you get to the next place, for instance, we ain't even talked about this. We ain't even talked about this, Blackshire probably could have been the starter this year, or I mean, in the rotation. But now he's left Alabama, went to Texas, and now he's back in the portal again. He literally left Alabama, went, and now he's back in the portal. Well, you know, like, and I had to let you go after this, Alan. But listen, I had a woman one time. She had been divorced 4 times. I mean, married 4 times, divorced 3, and she was complaining about her husband. And I asked her, I said, your other 3 husbands, what marriage are they on? She said, well, they're on their second one. I said, well, the husbands ain't the problem. And these guys that keep jumping schools, it's probably not the school, it's probably you. You're not good enough, or you're not committed enough, one of the two. And that's what this, I don't know what adults thought it was okay to say, transfer as much as you want and no consequence. I don't even and Kirby Smart was on that committee. And I wonder what his thoughts were. And he may be for it because he knows that he's a great place that guys will choose to come. Got to get out of here. Got one more caller. Thanks, Alan. And hey, listen, you need to do a better choice on your selections of which guys you're going to have take the shot. Robert Ory taking the shot for me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Just kidding, man. Have a good one. Come on. Hey, J-Rob, we need to get you in real quick. J-Rob, what you got for us, man?
Good morning and roll tide, gentlemen. I know you're short of time, so I'll make a comment, get out of your way. Glad to hear about David Palmer. He was definitely a special talent. I just would have loved to have seen him play with a quarterback like Bryce Young or even Jalen Milroe. Now, your would you rather question? I would much, much, much rather have an offensive line with the depth and experience. I'm an inside out guy, and you know, corners way out. So offensive line makes your team better, makes your quarterback better. You run the ball better, and yeah, it's a rough position that you do need depth. Y'all have a great day and roll tide.
Roll tide. Come on, that's J-Rob. Great insight. We'll pick up all of this conversation that we didn't get to, but come back on the other side. We'll have our Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week with Scotty Hollins.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. The latest accident to hit the board is McFarland and James Harrison Parkway. Still working eastbound 2059 at Daimler Benz. And the remnants of our earlier vehicle fire still in Foster's. This is US 11 and Holly Springs Lane. None of these, though, appear to be causing any major backups into and out of the T-Town region this morning. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Townsend Nissan is your #1 dealer, and they'll beat any written offer or pay you $1,000. Keeping you #1 keeps Townsend Nissan #1. See dealer for details.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It's time for our Harvest Church Christian Moment of the Week. We have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, joining the conversation where he can tell us, encourage us, prod us, push us, whatever he needs to do to persuade us to take our faith from the pews to the boardroom, the classroom, or whatever our chosen field of play is. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Martin. I'm doing well. Always excited to join you on Wednesday morning.
Well, man, I'll toss it right to you. Are we starting new or are we putting the
start new? Start new.
All right. Got it, man.
All right, guys. Yeah. So we're going to look at a passage, one of my favorite passages. I know y'all probably hear that a lot because I got a lot of favorite passages. It's like whatever passage I'm on, that's my favorite, right?
People always say, man, what's your favorite scripture? I go, well, these are the ones I use a lot. But I like them all, man.
That's right. And I'll be like, hey, no, this might be the true favorite. Right. So this is John 15:13. We're going to look at the greatest expression of love. And our title for this series, at least for the first part of the series, and we'll see if we go into a second part. But the first part, the thing that I really wanted to share is, again, so it's the greatest expression of love. We're going to look at that. We're going to define that. We're going to this morning, we're going to kind of have a brief synopsis and understanding of what's the greatest expression of love. And then the backdrop, the hashtag, the series will be called Friends Who Love Like This, right? Friends who love like this. And the thing is, we want to make sure that we are friends who love like this, all right? And we want to make sure that we have at least a couple people like this in our lives because it's going to help us. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through examples of people in the Bible who had friends who loved like this. And as you see those examples, you'll see that those people couldn't have accomplished all that God had placed in front of them without friends who love like this or friends who love like that. So here we go. John 15:13. It's Jesus. It's Passion Week. It's his last week on earth. It's and before he goes to the cross, and he's speaking to his disciples, and he says, "Hey, greater love has no one than this." And I've shared this passage before, but not in with obviously along this line. When you think about the greatest expression of love, you got to it's kind of left to interpretation. What's your definition of love? What do you think the greatest expression of love is? Jesus in this passage leaves no doubt. He's like, all right, here's the greatest expression of love. And when you hear it, you're like, oh gosh, yeah, that is. I wouldn't have gone that far. That's further than I would have thought that the greatest expression of love would take me. But here's what he says: the greater love has no one than this, which is the greatest expression of love. He says that you lay down your life for your friend. All right. So if you're laying down your life for your friend, Martin, what happens to you?
You laying down your life.
You died, didn't you?
You died.
So,
for someone else.
Yeah. And what happens to your friend? They lived. So the greatest expression of love in this passage, as Jesus shares this again, he says it's laying down your life for your friend, which means if we were to come up with a definition from that example, Martin, the greatest expression of love would be doing what's best for the person you're loving, no matter what it costs you. Now, what's interesting is Jesus is telling them, here's the greatest expression of love. Greater love has no one than this. You lay down your life for your friend, doing what's best for the person you're loving, no matter what it costs you. The interesting thing is that Jesus was actually about to show them the greatest expression of love. He told them it to make sure that when they saw it, they'd recognize it. Hey, here's the greatest expression of love, doing what's best for the person that you're loving, no matter what it costs you, which is laying down your life for your friend. And here's what he ends up doing. He lays down his life for them, his friends, for us, his friends. And he laid down his life, which meant he met our greatest need at the expense of his life. What was our greatest need? We needed a Savior. We needed someone, because we're sinners and our sins separate us from God. So we needed a Savior, someone who would who could live a perfect life, because that qualifies him to do the next thing, die on the cross for our sins, or die the death that we should have died. Okay, that is the definition. I wanted to kind of give that today, because what we will see is examples, other examples. The best example is given by Jesus, by far. No, it's not even close. That he shows us, here's what it looks like to show the greatest expression of love. It's me living a perfect life, the life you should have lived, dying on the cross for your sins, the death you should have died, and doing that. Why? Because that's what you need. And what does it cost me? Everything, my life. And so we will pick up there, and we will look at examples, Martin, and I'll have to do a little recap, just a short recap each week, but we will look at examples of friends who love like this.
Yeah, you know, that this is really interesting. At work, we're looking at doing Leaders Lead, and the number one principle that our CEO is going to teach is that you're invested in the success of others above yourself. The Medina spirit that we saw in basketball. But I typed what, as you were saying that, I said joy, Jesus, others, and yourself. All of those things culminate in this passage of scripture, and we can definitely see it on the sports field. And if you ask somebody who's your greatest teammate, they may not say this, but it was always someone who was willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the guy next to him or the team as a whole. So many sports relationships or connections to this, and so many practical applications to life. So I'm looking forward to this one, man. Tell them where they can. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. It comes straight to my email.
That's blueprinttuscaloosa.com. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, and doing some great things over there, building and shaping the character of our basketball team as a chaplain at Alabama. Thanks, Scotty, for all you do, man. So glad to be connected with you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, connect with Scotty Hollins, Blueprint Ministry Tuscaloosa. He's the executive director. He will take care of you, help you, and you partner and help him reach more kids and athletes and students around Tuscaloosa, West Alabama, and beyond. I'm Martin Houston. That's Scotty Hollins, Xavier Houston was on earlier. We got Justin Jones. Thank all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. We'll pick up all of these topics that we didn't get to on tomorrow. So make sure you put us on your calendar at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll be back with more. Join us right here on your home for Alabama Sports, 100.9. Remember, it's 12:30 a.m. WTBC. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not on your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide.